to Nasty Knuckles, the Hockey Outlaws podcast, with your hosts, Derek Nasty Settlemyre and former Philadelphia Flyer enforcer, Riley Cote, as they go behind the scenes with your favorite NHL players. Time to face off.
All right, welcome back. What's happening, Nasty?
What's up, Rigaralia? What are you doing? It's been a long time. I'm not in the green room, but it's similar.
You look like you're in a distant land somewhere. Where are you? What's going on?
I'm in Chicago, buddy. I'm in Chicago for a hockey tournament with Elvis, and I'm out here to see a couple teams. Going to see the Blackhawks, the Wolves. Trying to get over to see Milwaukee for Toby Hockey. Go see these teams, and then also worked out well because Elvis is in a tournament out here. So it's been a wild 3 weeks, bro. It's been hard for us to sit down together. Apologize, everyone. I had a lot of messages asking if we were going to have another episode here. missed the finals and everything, but I know you were gone. You had a big thing there in Colorado, and I went for the BKFC Ice Wars rigs, and it did not disappoint.
Oh, yeah.
Great weekend, man. Caught up with a bunch of guys. Charlie Nama did a phenomenal job. It was so well put together and well done. So our boy D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Nasty Marasti, Frankie the Animal, Bailois.
Oh man, what a crew! I saw some pictures. I saw some pictures and it's a little footage. You said production. Man. What a setup, man! See those guys out there.
It was really, really well done, and they got something good going here. They have another event this weekend, actually, in Edmonton. So good luck to them. Caught up with AJ Galante. Told me to say what's up. I know I texted you that night.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was great, man. It was some good fights. Charlie's worked out a deal now. After this event here, they're all going to be on ice, which is different. It's obviously better than having synthetic, but the guys were able to adapt and put a few sweet tooths on some blades so they had a little bit more grip. I only had to sharpen a few pair of skates because it didn't really make a whole lot of sense on that stuff. So,
right.
But it was still great, man, and looking forward to more. And I know you're gonna probably be getting involved here as well.
Oh yeah, how those ear straps hold up,
buddy? Not one ripped. We did have
a
helmet come off. Helmet came off in the second fight, but the guy loosened it, and now it's a $500 fine. Once we put it on you and tape it, you can't loosen it. Well, he loosened it. Sorry, boys and girls, my bad. Once you strap it and we put the tape on it, you can't touch it, right? So this guy loosened it. It came off, and I'm like, how did that thing come off? And then one guy had a shaved head, and he was just so sweaty. It literally, you could just see it moving, and it came off once. But other than that, it was great. So Charlie was happy with that, and Smitty was happy with that. So we had a great time, man. I can't wait for I think it's Tampa. We're in September. We're in Tampa, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And last week we missed you at P Hats. Toby, we had the crew there. We had Aaron, Bryce K all the way.
All the way.
Scott, Brad, and Coach Richard was there. I tried to scare
the whole
him.
crew.
Didn't really work. I know I got him once, but
he was on high alert.
Yeah, but it was great seeing all the equipment guys, all the medical guys, and so many people there. You've been there, you know what it's like. So we had a blast, man, and we got a lot of good things done. And it's just since Aaron taking over, and Toby as well. I forgot to mention Toby was there, the man, the myth, the legend. But with Aaron taking over and the money there to really push the brand to the next level, it's going to be great, man. We got a lot of orders, which was the first time, like for big orders like that with gloves and shin guards and everything. So Toby Hockey, baby.
Oh yeah. Toby is officially underway in a big way.
I
think it took another massive step with the addition of the gloves and the shin pads. I mean, last couple of years it's just been sticks, so more tools in the toolbox.
More tools, elbows coming too. Just finishing
Oh,
up those,
elbows.
and
Whew.
they're amazing, man. Nice and light with that carbon fiber technology, man. It's so protective but so light. Guys were
Yeah.
blown away by the shin guards. So the elbow pads, can't wait till they're finished. Toby's finishing those up. So it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be an interesting year, buddy. I mean, you're gonna have to be going on some trips together, pushing that
I
stick,
know.
baby. Hey, big weekend for the Flyboys. Danny's already made a move this week. We're going to get into it in our next segment with our captain, Mike Richards. But just quickly touching on the draft, we know 1 and 2 is they're saying kind of up in the air right now. But the way it looks is it's Matthew Schaefer, the D-man, out of Erie in the OHL. He's 6'2". He skates with these rigs. We both watched some video on him. Elite mobility. Just the way he moves with ease, like a lot of these guys do now, and should be a number one D-man in the league and can step in and play. I'm not saying this year he could be number one, but I mean, he should be in his career.
Yeah, it sounds like between Schaefer and the other guy, Michael Misa, it's interchangeable 1 and 2. I think originally Schaefer's name was as number one quite often, probably more often than the other, and then seems like late we've seen the other one a little bit more. But nonetheless, mobile defenseman. I think that's what separates him is exactly what you're saying is his ability to move, and obviously the way guys move. This day and age is incredible already, but to be that mobile on the back end and get up the ice, join the play, be offensive, get creative. That's what teams are looking for. And
Yeah, I mean, everybody's looking for that.
Yep.
I
So we'll
will
see how that
say,
plays out.
Misa in Saginaw in the OHL, 62 goals in 65 games. It's pretty
It's not
impressive,
bad.
man. And he's got, from the scouting reports, and I did see some videos, but obviously I'm not following this kid all year, but he has elite instincts, sees and processes the game like at a really high level, like a pro. Like a lot of scouts, I guess, and executives really like that part of his game, and
So
he does that at a high level and with speed. So I think he's NHL ready as well. The third guy, I would say in the top three, that the James Hagen kid who played at BC, played with Leonard and Perreault there, and they had that unbelievable line. I think he goes back another year. It looks like he could be the third pick after who knows who goes first, obviously. But I watched a little bit of BC, and he plays the right way. He plays on the defensive side of the puck. He's always on the right side of the puck, and he wins a lot of battles. But he does have some skill as well. So we'll see where they fall, man. It's an exciting weekend for the Flyers. Danny B's probably working his ass off right now, trying to move up. He is. But we'll get into the big trade that we're going to talk about here in just a couple minutes with our captain. I'll tell you what else is happening. You lost the bet. The beard's
I
got to
did lose
go.
the bet.
We got a little trimmage that has to happen,
trimage.
right?
Oh yeah, a little trimmage.
Florida Panthers win the Stanley Cup back-to-back, third year there. Your body's got to be feeling a little bit, no, Riggs? These guys, man, it's amazing. 3 times in a row to get there. I know Tampa did it a few years ago, but what can you say about the Panthers? Holy cow, what a team!
Yeah, what a team. We talked about this. They're the gold standard. Deep down in my heart, I knew they were winning. I had to go with Edmonton just because I needed a fresher look. I needed a Canadian team. Needed Connor McDavid. I didn't need. I was just hopeful.
I understand.
But you look at the way Florida is set up, and I don't need to go into it. Everyone knows.
No,
I mean, it's no secret. Top to bottom, that is the gold standard. It is hard to build a team that resilient and that effective and that offensive, and they check all the boxes. So,
my God,
hats off,
do they ever?
hats off. Yeah,
I mean, it's
well done.
they're good, man. They're really going to be interesting to see coming up here in free agency what happens with Bennett. Rumors are he's staying, but I mean, what can you say? Like you said, we've kind of talked about him so much, and the finals ended a week ago, so we're a little behind because of our schedule. But just it was impressive to watch, man. I mean, you just talk about a team rolling lines, banging bodies, just
Yep.
doing everything. I mean,
Yep.
from Bob out, man. Everyone
Yep.
takes a team,
Yep.
and that's what they have. And
That's it. Yeah, playing the way Stanley Cup champions do. I mean, they score, they defend, they're engaging physically. They're hard to play against. They're banging, like all of the ingredients. You mentioned Bennett. I mean, why the hell would he want to go anywhere else? I mean, they'll find a way to create some space for him. I mean, to me, he's like, have that guy on your team throughout the season and in the playoffs, just the resilience and the edge he plays with, like that's hard to find.
I know. It's
Why go
crazy,
anywhere
man.
else? When you got
Yeah.
that situation, because the reality is he can go probably make a little bit more. You can bring in the tax-free state stuff. I mean, you can go make a little bit more, probably taxed, but also like he'll probably play like higher up in the lineup, and maybe personally that could be a great thing. But like when you find your groove and you find your position on a team, and especially when you talk about winning, like it's all about winning. At that level, obviously, like stay in that situation. Why go somewhere else where there's question marks? Exactly what you got. The setup is like top notch. The guys, it seems like everything about it, like it just seems like a no-brainer to even consider going anywhere else. Seems silly, but I mean, when you talk about big dollars, it's I get it's business, but to me, you could make an extra million or two. But when there's question marks around the scenario, the situation itself, I mean, you may as well play your safe hand and know what you got and move forward.
Yeah, 100%. Be interesting to see their off summer, their off season, I should say, and what happens there. But great team, man. You got to tip your hats to them. Just a tough team to play, man. They seem to just do every little thing the right way and in order to win, and they're all willing to do it. Like you said, it's just such a team effort. Every single guy blocking shot, like Barkov blocking shots, like all these guys, like doesn't matter who it is, they all are willing to do what it takes to win, and that's why they're so good.
That's it.
So
And you add in a guy like Marchand, obviously, he adds a lot of essence to the already well seasoned team there, and just the way he competes, as we know, he's a pest. He's a hard worker. He makes plays. He gets it done. I mean, he is the prototypical addition to a roster late in the season. That is it. I mean, if you can make a move like that, I mean, that's just like that is it. It'd be interesting to see what happens with him. Maybe not quite so easy as maybe Bennett, but again, I don't know the whole math situation there. In a perfect world, they get both those guys done. There's probably someone else they got to sign in there too, I think. But either way, I mean, those are the guys. Those are the glue guys to get her done. Help get it done.
He comes in if you even want to call them a third line, Riles, the third line he's a part of, and he's 20 points in 23 games, 10 and 10. I mean, big goal after big goal, and just everything. But God, man, like you said, if you get a guy like Marchand, I don't care if he's 37 years old. You saw what he just did in the hardest time of year, puts 20 points up in 23 games and wins the Stanley Cup. So it'll be interesting, man. We'll see. Now,
I think it's that time.
We cue the music. Do we have music for
Cue the
Ric-Bone?
music, little drum roll.
Cue it, baby.
Little drum roll. 204, Captain's Corner. Bring in Mike Richards. Let's go.
All right, guys, welcome back. Captain's Corner with our boy Mike, the Ric-Bone Richards. Cappy, what's up, Richie? How's it going, buddy?
Good, bud. What's going on, boys? You guys look good.
Man, little jealous of you in the mid 70s to 80 in Kenora there. Beautiful water, beautiful house, and it's 100 degrees in Chicago, I think, with humidity through the roof. And Riggs looks like a damn tornado went through his room there at Wildwood or wherever the hell he is. Not sure what he's got going there, but looks like the girls got loose, Riggs.
They got loose, yeah. It's nice to see you wearing a sweatshirt in 110 degre weather, man.
I have air conditioning. I'm not staying under 95 here or 290 in a cardboard box. I'm all right. I thought I would be soon, but no, it's awesome. Great to see you, Ric-Bone, man. Riggs and I, we were just saying we haven't been on in almost 2 weeks, just because of our schedules. But wanted to get your thoughts quickly on the finals. I know you had to be going for Edmonton, just like Riggs. But the Florida team, man. Wow, like
Yeah.
just a squad, man.
Yeah, just steamrolled everybody. Like they were just incredible. Like even like Barkov, that line, like until Reinhardt scored 4 in the game 6, but they were just quiet
Yeah.
all series. Kachuk, probably not at the top of his game, and then the third, like they just seemed like it was like one game. It's like, okay, you take off, and then Lindell, Marchand, Listerinen would score a couple, and then the next game it would, like just the depth. Their D was incredible. Bob played incredible. Like it's just the best team won, and I think that was pretty obvious. I think Edmonton really missed Zach Hyman. They couldn't get anything going on the forward check. Every time they got in, it seemed like it was one and done. Quick play at the net. They would just kind of chip it in the neutral zone, and you could tell Edmonton was starting to get frustrated. And then once you start getting frustrated against them, they just they turn pucks over, it goes the other way, it's in your net. So I think the best team won this year. They kind of this Carolina steamrolled. Leafs did all right against them, but in the all the big games, it was just men against boys type thing throughout the playoffs, and then same thing first round Tampa. It was just a dominant performance from start to finish. It was pretty wild. There was no point in the finals that I thought that Edmonton was going to win.
Right.
Like it just seemed like it was just a formality.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think for the Oilers?
Oh, go ahead and ask.
Go ahead, Rick. Sorry.
I was just going to say, is it a depth issue? I mean, you're missing Zach Hyman, McDavid, Draisaitl really can't get anything going.
Probably a depth. Like if you just look at the lines, like put the roster side by side.
Yeah.
Like Bob Skinner, obviously Bob. Right. You had Jones, Ekblad, Forsling, like Mikkola maybe be the fourth, and then Smith and Kulikov against Ekblad or Ekholm's a really good D, but he just didn't seem like he was at 100%. Like it's just like down the board, and then you look at the forwards like we just talked about, like just not an even fight. I don't think when you put the lines side by side, and give Edmonton credit, they battled, but I think just missing Hyman, you couldn't turn pucks over. It just seemed like you couldn't get that sustained pressure, and when you have that, you rely so heavily on two guys to produce all your offense, and then you take Hyman out, you're kind of in a spot duty for Perry. I think Brown played a little bit on the right side with McDavid, and they just couldn't get any chemistry, any sustained pressure, any time where it's like, okay, like I feel like they're pressing now, other than the games that it seemed like they scored. They were very opportunistic, Edmonton, when they got chances until those final couple games, and then it was just Bob stood on his head, and it seemed like every time Florida went down the ice, they scored. So probably pretty deflating, I think, not only when you can't get sustained pressure, like when you get like zone time after zone time after zone time, you can almost like feel that you're going to score. But when you're just like getting in one shot, puck goes out, and then you don't get another shot at it, it's just got to be so frustrating for those guys to always play so much in a neutral zone and not get anything going.
Yeah.
So and you said it, Richie, like even the top lines, if they weren't going, like I hate to even call Marchand's line the third line. I mean, the guy ended up with 10 goals, 10 assists in 23 games. He had and some big goals too, obviously. Evan Rodriguez, like all these guys, they seem like such a team, and seems like, I'm not saying it's obviously not an easy job to be a coach, but for Maurice, man, he just had them just a well-oiled machine. They rolled the lines. I mean, just like you said, it could be one guy this night, one guy that night. It's pretty nice when you have that.
Yeah. Even when the games were in Edmonton, it seemed like Paul Maurice was just like rolling the lines. Like they weren't trying, like other than maybe the fourth line a little bit, but they weren't like trying to keep a line away from McDavid or, make sure there's a line out there. Like obviously they wanted Barkov, but I don't think they went out of their way to get that matchup. And as a coach, when you have that sort of depth, it must be so comforting to just know that like whoever's on the ice is going to do the job against that line. And then when McDavid or Draisaitl aren't on the ice, then it's such an advantage for, Lundell, Marchand, or, turns out that Bennett's line's out there when those top Edmonton guys aren't, then they have a field day. And it's just like, it just seemed like they were always, like Edmonton was always searching for something. And Florida was just on easy street, like putting the feet up and letting the lines roll through. It just, which is crazy because it's like the finals. You expect it to be so close and competitive, but at no point did it feel like that. Even the games that Edmonton won, it just seemed like they were scoring on their chances, but like they weren't carrying the play, if that kind of makes sense. Even the game that they came back 3-1, they got dominated in the first, and then they started chipping away and playing better, and Florida kind of dropped off. But it seemed like that was more Florida dropping off than Edmonton kind of pressing.
But I was going to ask you a question about your first Stanley Cup that you did win with the Kings, with the Devils. Like, I'm not saying, I know it's not easy, but did you guys have that feeling like we're going to be, I'm not saying Florida was like, oh, we're definitely going to win, but they probably thought that. But did you feel that way in that series a little bit?
Yeah, like confident, like overly confident that we were. Like even game 4 that we lost in LA, I think it was, and it was tied late. They got like a kind of a cheesy goal. It was just a wrist shot from the top of the circles, and we lost. But even after that game, you're just like, okay, we'll win it in Jersey. And we ended up losing that game, but then we won it in game 6. But it just like to be that confident, it's just such a like a good feeling that you just never have a worry. You're never like wasting energy worrying about what could go wrong or that maybe you might not win. It's just like you're so confident in your group. And like game 6, I think it was, you could just see like it was night and day from what it was last year when Florida kind of let it get away. It went from 3-0 to 3-3. This year, it's just right when you saw the first 5 minutes of the game, you knew the series was over that night.
Yeah, for sure.
So true. How long do you think Florida can ride this? I guess you want to call it a dynasty of some sort, right? I mean, you were part of one in LA. How much longer do you think they could ride this? And then is Edmonton's window slowly closing for this opportunity?
Yeah. I think anytime for Edmonton, anytime you have Draisaitl, McDavid, like even their team this year, I didn't think they were as balanced or as good. Like the moves they made last offseason, it just seemed like they got a little bit older, a little bit smaller, like a little bit slower, losing Holloway, Fogle, Brobert went too, but it just seemed like they took a step back and still made it to the finals.
Right.
And a lot of it was obviously McDavid and Draisaitl. So anytime you have those guys, I think you have a shot. So, you start getting a little more consistent goaltending, who knows what could happen. But for Florida, like, I don't know, they just went to the Calder Cup Finals. They lost, so they obviously have a good farm system. All their players are signed for like long-term deals other than the 3 that are up this year. And I'm guessing, what did they sign? 2 of them, maybe? Like one for sure.
2,
Yeah, Bennett probably, and either Marchand, I would think. I'm assuming, from what I read, they brought Jones in to kind of replace Ekblad. Is kind of what
Yeah,
I've
I
been
heard the
reading.
same.
Yeah, so even if you take Ekblad out, really good defenseman, but then you still have a pretty good back end, and you still have Bob in net. I guess the only thing I could see in a few years is maybe, Bob's a little bit older. Maybe he takes just a half a step back, and those guys start aging. Like, you're not going to win it every year. And I would probably guess they're not going to win it next year just based off 3 finals in a row. But when you have that kind of depth, like, you're not putting 25 minutes a night on Barkov or Reinhart, like, you can manage the body a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to take a huge step back, but, like, 3 finals in a row is going to wear on your body. So even if they're not in it next year, it's the year after, because those guys are all on long-term deals. So I can't see them taking a big step back anytime soon. They're going to be right there.
Right.
You brought up more consistent goaltending. Like, we were talking about this. Like, is it as simple? I know is it as simple as getting another goalie? But I know you've been trying in Edmonton, and obviously you have to have all the pieces. But like you said, you hit the nail on the head. Consistent goaltending.
Yeah, I think it's more like just getting those saves. Like, I mean, we've been on teams that haven't had the most consistent goaltending, and it's so deflating when you work so hard for your chances on the other side. You get a couple looks, their goalie makes a couple big saves that he shouldn't. You're taking hits trying to get to the net, working so hard, taking cross checks to get to the net just to score a goal, and then they come down kind of a shot from the top of the circles and it goes in. Like, it's so deflating as a group. So I think it's more just getting those, like, timely saves. It doesn't have to be like, Hellebuck or Vasilevsky or, that type of goaltending. Just the saves, I think, that he has to. And like, I don't think it was all on the goaltending. I just think it's like those are big momentum shifts in games when a goal goes in that you think, should have been saved. It makes the whole group kind of sag. And I think if you got a little bit more consistent goaltending, and then obviously, guys to play up front, you get Hyman back, that helps. Draisaitl kind of needs somebody to play with, I would think.
Yeah.
Like, just somebody that you can get just a little more, like, familiar with, where it's the same player every night. It just seemed like, especially throughout the playoffs, like, every Kapanen came in, he did a good job for a couple games, and then somebody else, and it just seems like there was always somebody else on Draisaitl's line. But I would say goaltending would be the first thing that you would look at. Is just such a key position and important. You don't need 930 save percentage, but it can't be like 870, I guess, would be the
right.
I think Quickie was about 975 when you guys were I'm kidding, but man, he was, I think you said it before, his most outstanding performance many of us saw in goal was Quickie those years. And
it's just like, it's like, for him, it was like, obviously, to, like, the furthest extent of being great, but, like, you play so much freer when you have confidence that if you do make a mistake, like, it's not gonna end up in your net. So, like, as a center iceman, like, you can maybe, like, pinch on the boards a little bit better. So now you're playing more O zone instead of D zone, instead of just pulling out, because you're scared of pulling the puck out of your net at the other side 10 seconds later if you pinch or something. So like you said, that was to the extreme. Like, that was the best I've ever seen. But just that, like, that confidence kind of radiates throughout the group when you have good goaltending.
Yeah, it's the truth. And it's the toughest one to solve, that goaltending riddle, right? I mean, it's like, there's just, like, there's not that many of them around.
There's not. And then you see, like, different, like, if you look at that Stolarz with the Leafs, like, he went through a few teams before getting to Toronto, and then he was great all year. Like, you just never know when you're going to find that guy. And there's only, like, 8-10 true number one goaltenders in the league. So you kind of have to try to find that diamond in the rough. That's just, not, I guess, right. It's just not good. You're not going to like pick it up off the scratch. Like nobody's putting that on waivers. You know what I mean? Like nobody's putting a goal. So you have to get creative and try to find it in the minors or, just take a flyer on somebody and hopefully it works out.
Yeah,
that's it. Lots of goalie clinics.
Yeah,
lots of reps.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know where you would start. Like it's and like first rounders for goaltenders that like are just okay goaltenders, have okay numbers, and if you think he's going to come in your system and to start, having one of those years that Stollart's had, I think that's kind of the problem with it is it's risky when it's not. Those top 10 guys in the league, because everything's just a flyer at that point. And do you waste capital, draft capital, prospects, that sort of thing, and getting a goaltender that you're hoping does well? So
no kidding.
That's for sure. Were you at all, real quickly, with Florida again? Were you surprised the way Marchand fit in with that group, or not really, just because of how tight of that room was?
Yeah, not really. I think when you have a group kind of like that, like we had something similar in LA when we brought like Marian Gaborik in, and there was always like a little bit of discussion around like if he could win, if that sort of thing, and then he came right in. He was the best guy. You just like different surrounding. Like some dressing rooms can take literally any player. And it seems like Florida has that. Like we had that in LA, and some dressing rooms can. They're a little bit more fragile, and that's that's a testament to like Bill Zito and Greg Campbell in Florida of knowing their dressing room and knowing what they'll accept. Because like with him in Boston, like there could have been some hard feelings, and it starts getting awkward really quick, bringing different players from rivals into your dressing room. But I mean, he's such a good player. He's going to fit in basically anywhere anyways. But to just have a group where as a GM, you're confident to bring basically anybody in is a whole new advantage that some teams don't have.
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
And obviously,
it helps when you start scoring OT winners. And, it makes you fit in pretty quick.
Yeah, no doubt.
Exactly.
I think it's just his personality, his character. Like it seems like he could probably squeeze in anywhere. Obviously, he's got to back it up with his play, but he seems like he doesn't have a problem, gelling with his teammates and all that good stuff. And you said like, it certainly helps when you start scoring, keeps the flies away.
Exactly.
Yeah, that definitely does.
Yeah, and for him, like he's been on enough good teams that I think like it's pretty hard to find like a bad hockey guy. Like to think about like all the guys that have been in the dressing room, like everybody's pretty down to earth and can fit in with mostly anyone. Like it takes a real jackass to not fit into a hockey dressing room. So. Like he seems like I've met him a few times. He's an awesome guy, obviously a guy that you battle with on the ice and, you want to strangle on the ice, but anytime off the ice, like most guys are pretty easy to get along with.
Right.
Yeah. That's funny. It's funny you brought up like him going in there with the bad blood with Boston the year before, him and Bennett. But I guess, they were doing an interview and Sam Bennett said he was the first guy, he went up to him and they got along. And it just reminded me of Chief when he got traded way back in the day. Craig Berube got traded to Washington, and him and Dale Hunter used to literally try to spear each other's eyes out, like back when you could use your stick like that.
Yeah.
And he says, I get there, I didn't speak to him. And then I come in one day and Sluggo, old famous, the old equipment guy from Washington, and he ended up in Anaheim. But Sluggo put them beside each other because he loved them both. Now they're best friends. They talk every day.
Yeah.
in Hudsey, but pretty funny. They just absolutely hate each other, and then they realize they're like best buds, and you couldn't separate those two idiots.
Yeah. Yeah, which usually happens. Like usually like the guys that hate each other play very similar on the ice too. You know, like the guys that battle the most on the ice are the guys that play very similar. So over time, usually everybody works things out. And like I said, like hockey dressing rooms are very unique. Like you could take anybody basically from any team. Like you would be hard pressed for them not to get along with everybody in a hockey dressing room. It's usually a pretty close-knit group. And there's some like special groups where like everybody loves each other and everybody like enjoys being around. There's some that are, you know, like a handful of different little groups, but for the most part, like going into a hockey dressing room, it's pretty hard not to get along, especially like when your team's good and you know you have a shot to win. Like if you can't get along with your teammates in that sort of setting, I think there's usually an issue.
Yeah, no kidding.
You were talking a little bit about like them winning next year and how hard it is. This Corey Perry's been in the finals out of the last 6 years. But Riley and I talked about him all playoffs. This guy just finds a way he does something every game, whether it's score a goal, whether he draws a penalty, whether he gets an assist. Like 40 years old, man, the guy's still going.
Yeah. Yeah, he's always in the middle of something too, you know, like he's never just there to play. He's always there to just, you know, he stirs it up, he scores goals, he, you know, makes great plays. Like on the overtime winner, I think in game 1, great play to McDavid, to Dreisaitl, you know, like he's always in the middle, and that's like very similar to Marchand. Like they're just always in the middle of something, even in like games. Because I think like he probably played a little bit more than he probably should have with Zach Hyman going down, Perry I'm talking about. But like even games that he might have not had his legs or kind of looked like he was just like kind of struggling, like he always finds a way to have an impact on the game, which is like such a huge compliment to somebody, and so important for winning teams, of having guys like that just like know how to have an impact on the game when like you're not flying around. You don't have your legs every single night, but you still find a way to like impact the game. And he has that, and that's why he's played. Like I was in Ireland a few weeks ago visiting a friend I played junior with, and he obviously played against Perry too. And we were just talking like of that 2003 draft. If we were to put a bet on who was the last guy to be playing with all like the great skaters and, you know, great players in that draft, like Perez is, you know, one of the last. Like, you know, like it wouldn't have been him, but it just shows how much he loves it, how much of a competitor he is, and how smart he is with what I was saying of making an impact on the game every single night.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Luckily, he did win a cup early in his career in Anaheim. Like, my God, if he hadn't, and he's lost 5 out of.
Oh man, terribly.
I couldn't even imagine.
He's got the one in the bank. He's got it in the bank.
No kidding. So. As I said that I said that to Kate after the game. I said, like, in 2010, losing was literally one of the worst like feelings of my life, of having like hockey for sure, of going through that grind, like putting your body through that, how tired you are, and then to just have nothing after is one of the worst feelings I've ever had in hockey. And to do that 5 of 6, I honestly couldn't even imagine.
Oh my God,
that's tough.
Well, I will say that Riggs, Richie, that was awful losing that. But I think that might be the only thing you ever lost, for God's sake.
Yeah.
You won every level, like everything. You just beat me earlier in the year, and gold medal, not beat me, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you guys won the gold. I'm thinking, well, Richie won a gold. This guy doesn't lose. We got this wrapped up. But yeah, man, it's a grind, like you said, and I was gonna. I don't have to ask you now, but you're losing that you're able, thank God, 2 years later, you end up. We had a great team next year. We had a great team. I thought that next year, a good enough team to hopefully get back there, but we didn't do it. But anyway, you move on, and I felt like I was with you when you were lifting that cup, man. I'm like a little bitch. I'm crying, I should really win, but I'm happy, like it wasn't, But
but it is like that feeling.
Yeah.
The juxtaposition of like how bad you feel and how low of lows it is to go through that and then lose, and then obviously like at least, like you said, at least Pairs has won, because I couldn't imagine if you haven't won to be so close so many times to fall short. And like I thought it was cool what Florida did of when Barkov passed it to all the players that didn't win, like they got to hoist it first, because like the first time you win, it's just like pure joy. It's incredible. And then like the second time when we won, like obviously it never gets old, but like just to see like the joy of everybody who just won for the first time is like, makes it that much sweeter. So like it's not better or worse, like the first cup is still a highlight of my life, but like that second time when you see the guys that are winning it for the first time. So I thought that was like a pretty classy move of giving the cup first to the guys that haven't won, and then kind of trickle down from there. That was pretty cool to see, because it is awesome. Like there's no feeling like that first cup, and to see like to go through it yourself and then to see others go through it for me the next year, and for them same thing, or 2 years later, and for them the next year was pretty wild.
I was just telling yesterday, I was telling a story about, I can't remember what we were talking about. They were talking about Florida winning the cup, and I said, yeah, I was in the back seat of Mike Richards' truck putting a seatbelt on it, and I'm like trying not to touch it, right, Riggs? And he goes, fuck, you guys ain't winning, don't worry about it. And what's even funnier is a few years later, Chief wins, so Elvis and I go to his party. And Elvis got his arms on it, and I'm standing there, and he's like, Daddy, touch it. And I'm like, I can't, buddy. And she goes, fuck, you guys ain't winning. I'm like, screw you two. Like I said, Richie told me the same thing a few years ago. But you were right. We didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't anyway. Hopefully they got one coming at some point. But,
the
guys are like, no way. I'm like, oh, yeah, they gave it to me pretty good. You can touch it. Don't worry now. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of cups, not a Stanley Cup, but a Calder Cup earlier this month, it was the 20th anniversary from Riggs, you two, hoisting that cup in the center. And I am literally 200 yards from where the Wolves play. That's where I'm staying, like right beside the arena.
Okay.
I was like, Elby, we won the first two games of the Calder Cup there. And he, like, of course, spit out, oh, didn't Sharpie get the overtime winner in game 2, or Carter? Like, he was telling me, I'm like, you remember that? He's like, you showed me the video. But anyway, right here, man, right beside it. But I was just gonna say, like, I know you were really young. You came and joined the team, I think, in the second round, but ended up obviously being a huge part of our success. But any memories that stood out from you from that? I mean, I know you'd already won a few things already. But that one pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool. That was actually like similar to, like, it was just awkward because like we came in the second round, so like that was actually like very similar to like the second cup, where like, not that you don't feel a part of it, because obviously you were, but like seeing what the whole team kind of went through all year to get to that point, and then obviously happy to share with them and be a little part of it was pretty awesome. But like, I just remember that team being like just such a riot. Like, to get back to our conversation from earlier about like guys that like love hanging out with each other, guys that just like enjoy kind of being as a group and doing everything together. Like, that's kind of what I remember from that group. It was just like so many great, not only great players, but just like great guys that just didn't matter. Bus ride, in the hotel. It was like cards. It was, you know, like dinners, stuff like that. Like I just remember it being a really close-knit group.
Yeah, it was.
That was awesome.
That was like one of the best teams I've ever been on as far as like overall just personnel, energy.
Yeah. Like everyone
bit.
just seemed just like loved being at the rink.
Yeah.
And like obviously that when you have that, it's a pretty, you just like tee yourself up for success when everybody just loves going to the rink together.
You're I just thought of this. I think I said it before, but I'll never forget after first period we played the Wolves, and they were a different style of team than we had played, I think, you know, in the other rounds. Not the other teams were good, but I remember that first period, I think they had like 2 or 3 like 3-on-1s. I mean, they were just fast. Like they seemed really, not that we were slow, they just had this mojo going. And I remember I was doing a skate, Ben Stafford came out and he was like, we'd come out once in a while and talk to me, and he'd untaping his stick and retaping it. And he looked at me, and I'm just thinking in my head, Nitty stood on his spot. Like Nitty was unbelievable. Obviously, we know that. Yeah. But he stood on his head, and somehow I think it was 0-0 after 1. And I mean, they were all over us. And I looked at Ducky, and he was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Are we all right here?"
Yeah.
We'll be all right. We just got to get up to speed here or whatever. And then obviously we ended up winning those games close here. Yeah. Very close, one overtime. But that was a really fun group. It was great. You guys got to come in, and we had a great year all year. That year with Riggs and those guys. Pretty tough team too. Not bad. Couple
guys, bruisers.
Couple young, hungry ones too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Gratz, like, how are you not even marked up? Oh, he didn't hit me. Yeah. He did like 9 times, and he goes, pillows, boys, pillows.
Yeah, he's coaching, I think, in Winnipeg. I think he just got a new gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Team.
I was gonna ask you, Richie, speaking of Winnipeg, your thoughts on your neighbor there in Kenora. I don't know if he left or he's still there, but Jonathan Toews, man.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome for him. Happy to see healthy. I seen him a couple of years ago, and he looked good. You could just like, I didn't want to ask him exactly what was wrong, but you could tell like, he wasn't like he's a big guy, like when he played especially. So obviously happy to see him like sign in Winnipeg. It'll be great for the Jets. Like I think the Jets need a guy like him where like he knows what he's obviously like one of the great winners of our generation anyways. And, hopefully he has success. Like 2 years off's a lot. He's a guy that always, he's a gym rat. He's just a worker. So I think he'll be fine, but 2 years is a long time. I think he's 37 now, maybe 38. Yeah. So not young, 2 years off. So I just hope it goes well for him. He was such a huge figure in the league for so long. I think it'll be good for him to get back on the ice, and obviously not the way he wanted to end his career a couple of years ago. So I think it's great for him to kind of get to write his own ending instead of just, having health issues and that sort of thing. Right. So hopefully he does well. Winnipeg, I think, needs them. I think they seem to kind of sputter out every year in playoffs. And I thought they got lucky to get past St. Louis. And then the second round, it just seemed like they didn't have it. But like Dallas kind of, went over them decently easy. So I think it'll be good for them. Like like I said, they need a guy just like Johnny, and he's one of those guys. Like he's an it guy. He's a guy that gets in your dressing room and it has a huge impact on winning, not just like a huge impact on the group. Like he has that like presence about him that he speaks, people listen. And I think he'll be great there.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm super happy for him. I don't know him well, but I know him well enough. He would always stop and talk to me. Just, he didn't have to do that. He was just a really good dude too, man. Like,
Great guy. Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, I actually got to talk to him for a little bit. We were in Prague, actually. I think it was my last year with the team, and we played down. We started the season off there. Both teams went to a soccer game, and so we were like in the line there, I think grabbing a beer or something, and I ended up talking to him for like 20 minutes. I always would talk to him, but that was the longest I ever talked to him. He's such a good dude, man. Really good guy.
Yeah, and yet he's got that like aura about him where like when he walks in the room, he's got a presence about him, and I think that's kind of what the Jets were lacking, is that like the presence in the lineup. Even though Hellebuck just won the Hart, it's hard. It just like once playoffs start, it just seems like they're always punching up. Whereas I think with him in the lineup, it gives them that confidence where they can get that swagger in playoffs instead of just throughout the season.
Yeah, great for the city, man. The buzz in the Peg right now is, like you said, levels it was necessary.
Yeah, it is good too. Like Chevy's done such a good job building the team and been there for so long that like it's not like the same rules, I guess, for him where like people need to get paid a little bit more to go there. It's not like it's on a lot of people's no trade list and stuff like that. So I think Chevy's done a great job of building a team from draft and develop and all that stuff. So to have a guy like that from Winnipeg play in Winnipeg, I think is a big thing. I think he'll do well. I hope he does well. I'm excited to watch him play.
Yeah, me too. Danny's getting ready. Danny Breer's getting ready here, obviously for the draft, like everyone Friday night here. Just made a deal. I'm sure you saw Trevor Zegras coming to the Flyers. What are your thoughts on him? I don't know how much you've been able to see him. I know he's kind of been in and out of the lineup with some injury things, but coming over, obviously he traded Pales, and who's a good guy, good player, but trying to get some more skill. I'm thinking in my mind for Michkov, to play with Michkov maybe.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they better have a good defensive center ice.
Extra defensive.
Yeah, exactly. I'd have to get Bergeron out of retirement, but I don't know. Like, I think for him, it's kind of a win-win maybe, as the way Danny's probably seeing it is he has a couple of years left. Like the Flyers aren't winning the Cup next year, so maybe you bring a guy like that in, you kind of strike lightning in a bottle where he likes it there. He starts, 20, I think he's 24, I think I read. So he's still decently young, but not like a young kid anymore, where I think you may have to like grow up a little and know that. And I don't mean that in like a naive sense of like he just like goes to the rink and do whatever, but I just mean his game of like evolving into a 200-foot player, a guy that can be trusted on the ice, a guy that's got great skill, but kind of use it in a positive way instead of, kind of like the games that I've seen. I haven't watched it a ton, but it just seems like very high risk, obviously high skill, but like I was saying before about the defense, it seems secondary, that sort of thing. And I think sometimes when you get traded at a younger age, it can kind of focus you in on some of the different like tangible things that you can change with being better defensively. Maybe playing a little harder, but like just kind of getting into those areas in the corner that you kind of need to fight for, stuff like that. So for Danny, it's probably, like you didn't pay a ton to get him.
Right.
He probably has a really big upside because he is so skilled. So if it doesn't work out in 2 years, when hopefully the Flyers are kind of ramping up, you either keep him, re-sign him, or you don't. So it's probably just a flyer. Originally, I wasn't a huge fan of the trade, but after thinking about it, you probably want to develop Michkov a little bit more and give him someone to play with. And like I said, if it doesn't work out in 2 years, you just either trade him or let him go and move on. So It'll be interesting to see how the Flyer fans react because.
So I saw some comments, Richie, and they said, "Well, at least warm-ups will be fun."
Yeah, yeah,
high skill, yeah,
exactly.
It is. Well, I actually took Elvis said we got to get the warm-ups when they first time. He is a highly skilled guy. Obviously.
He's got all the skill in the world. I think just like using it to, like putting it in a direction of like helping the team and like knowing when to use it, I think would be the biggest thing of not trying, cross ice sauce when it's a 3-2 game or, stuff like that. Like use it in a way that's going to be not only like helpful for your teammates, but for the team as well. I guess just not turning the puck over, too much where like you can use your skill, but just know when to use it, I guess is kind of the thing that I noticed right away, where like some things he was trying and they'd be up 3-2 in a game and you're like, I don't know if you need to do that there. So we'll see how it works out. I don't know.
Richie, there was
experiment.
Experiment, yeah.
Exactly. There was a player back in the day when Sudsy, my dad was a trainer there with the Flyers, and his name was Miroslav Dvorak, and he was Czech, and his nickname was Cookie. I got a few great stories about him, but the one that you just talk about his skill and everything. So Cookie, they're killing a penalty. I guess he gets the puck, and my old man's like, he just can skate, right? And he's just kind of did it before guys were doing it. Like he's going through guys and circle around, and I guess Keenan's losing his fucking mind. Just get the puck out because they're killing a penalty, right? So he comes back and he's like, Cookie, what the fuck are you doing, man? He goes, dipsy doo, good for fans. He's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
You're right. It's like sometimes you see him trying those moves where, like, there are times where they're effective, right? Like, it works, but you have to know when to do it. And speaking of, we didn't get a chance to talk to you about this either. Obviously, it was a few weeks ago, but Rick Tocchet's hired as a coach. Maybe he's a guy that he's still in tune with the younger groups or younger kids, and he kind of reminds me of Chief as a coach. Hopefully, he can get him, get in his ear and say, hey,
we teach him how to do it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Because like you remember when like Peter Nedved was there and he was the same player every time. Yeah, exactly. Like bedhead. But he would it was the same player no matter what the score was of the game, where he was on the ice, like he was like toe dragging at the blue line. Yes. He was, between the legs and just like no cares in the world, where I think, like you said, Talk could probably do that. Like, you're down a goal, it's not a bad time to use that skill when you're up a goal, try to keep it simple. And Talk's such a great coach. Like you could tell a lot of the guys in Vancouver loved him. It seemed like when he was with Pittsburgh as the assistant, it seemed like everybody loved him. So you must obviously you must be great at like communicating with people of what they can and can't do, and probably explain to them, this is probably not the best situation for it. This is that sort of thing. So I think that's a great hire for Philly. I think he'll do a great job. Like I've never had him. I've kind of seen him around, but I've never had him as a coach. But I don't think I've ever heard one person like in the media or just talking to guys that has ever said a bad word about him. So he obviously is doing something well, because it seems like he's universally loved by all the players, and that's hard to do. So he obviously has a good handle on the game. Even like last year for Vancouver wasn't the best year, but like 2 years ago when they kind of had a run, I think they lost to Edmonton at the time, but like they were going through without Demko, and they had some guys in and out of the lineup, and he just his message always seemed to stay the same, and guys seem to love playing for him. So I think he'll be great in Philly. Like he seems like just such a good coach.
He's super excited too.
Yeah, he just seems so intense too. Like you watch like his videos of him playing, and then you see him behind the bench. You could just see his, him grinding his teeth, and but which is nice. Like you see a coach like that, like Chief's the same way, where he's just like so intense, but like he seems like he has a really good knack for kind of what to say in the moment, what needs to be done, like stuff like that. So. I think he'll do great.
We had right after they lost there, and he was talking to saying he's a lot. Those two are a lot alike. I mean, when I was a kid, they were playing together, and it was actually funny. But it was just jab after jab. It just all they did was go at each other, to, leave the rink together, and it was just so funny to watch their interaction. And my old man actually has a group text with them, and he sends me screens. They're like, "Your dad is effed up." Like, I know why you think Elvis is so messed up.
Skipped a generation.
Oh, man. Riggs, I forgot to tell you, we're out here. I think I messaged Richie yesterday. I was telling him that Richard Matvichuk's out here with Clarkie, David Clarkson, coaching team out here, and also Zach Parise is coaching a team for many. Saw him yesterday as well. So it's funny. Doing
all-star lineup
tour, all these. It's just like so funny how many guys are coaching. Their kids. Danny Boyle. I remember I saw Danny, and his son looks just like him too. Man, he's about 6 foot tall, just like an ostrich, man. Out there.
Oh yeah,
he's a year younger than Elvis too. Like
wow. Just a monster.
But anyway, it's cool to see those guys. For their kids and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be pretty wild. I seen him a couple weeks ago in Ireland, and he was telling me about that. He's
the golf.
Yeah, no, we went over. One of my guy, Adam Keefe, you would have met him at the Cup party.
You went for that.
Yeah, so he had his jersey retired for the Belfast Giants. Awesome. So me and Clarkie and a couple guys. Yeah, it was a ride. It was fun.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
Heck, still makes me laugh at that video you, Riggs, when you're mic'd and you're like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you, Clarkson. You're dead," and he's like, "Why?"
You little fucking prick, I'm gonna fucking hurt you tonight. I'm gonna fucking hurt you. You fucking pigeon. Cocky fuck Clarkson. I'm gonna fucking hurt you. I'm gonna fucking hurt you.
Why?
It's like, what? What did I do?
I don't know. I had 10 coffees, a couple Red Bulls,
a couple Red Bulls and a 5-hour energy.
It's a good question, Clark. I don't know why.
Yeah. I'll get back to you.
Helmets up the top.
Figure that out.
Fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Oh man. Right. Well, Richie, we appreciate you, man. Sorry we kept you so long here. Just
no, you're good.
It's been a while since we talked to you. Everybody's asking about Captain's Corner, man. I said, get him on. We've been a mess. So time, brother.
Yeah, no, all good. Next week you'll have lots to talk about when all the GMs overspend to save their jobs and players end up getting paid. And life is good. Yeah. Yeah. It always makes me laugh July 1st, but
I know, right?
Good for the players.
Now, we had some awards that were handed out in the NHL. Your Winnipeg guy, well, he's an American, but Connor Hellebuck in Winnipeg picks up the Vezina and the Hart. What were your thoughts on that?
I think I was a little surprised, honestly. I think I guess it maybe just the way the playoffs landed up rolling out. But I mean, you talk about the regular season and carrying the Winnipeg Jets. I just maybe thought, considering I don't want to say his playoff performance was questionable, but I don't know. Generally, when you win, especially both of those awards, there has to be a little bit more, I don't want to say longevity into the playoffs, a little bit more performance in the playoffs. But, I mean, regular season, lights out. I mean, you're not going to find, a better overall performance in the regular season. But I think it's just maybe questionable in the playoffs. But that being said, good for him. You'll be able to squeeze that out. Obviously, you got the vote, so I mean, props to him.
Yeah, true.
Tip my hat to him. Thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, he had another hell of a regular season. You know, just didn't work out for those guys, and in the playoffs again. But he was the best in the regular season, that's for sure. So he wins the 2 awards. Cale Makar, Norris Trophy. Shocked? No.
Absolutely not. I mean, they almost got to create another award for this guy. Just like,
God, he's unreal,
it's
man.
just unreal to watch. But not surprised at all.
Yeah, exactly. Lane Hudson wins the Calder. I think we kind of knew that. This kid's so mobile, and he's actually fun to watch. Reminds me of Hughes in Vancouver, just the way he moves. He's actually a treat to watch.
He is. He looks like a defensive version of you in the NHL.
Yeah,
the mobility,
kind of reminds me
the
of
quickness.
myself. Yeah, for sure.
Light on his feet.
Keep the pins moving, boys.
Just on the back end of that. Just on the blue.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
exactly. Your boy Matt Rempe signs a 2-year deal in New York.
Lock him down.
Gotta lock him in.
Oh yeah.
Gotta have him. I don't care what anyone says. You need a little bit of that on your team and in your room and on the ice.
Totally. I mean, you got a guy that size that can move in a straight line and get around the ice and it's some bit intimidating here in this day and age NHL. I mean, let's go. Get him out there.
Yeah.
Move around, give him a little freedom. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
The Flyers hired Todd Reardon as an assistant coach a couple days ago, so that's good. That's interesting. That's I'm assuming that's obviously talk. Buddy of his and someone he believes in, so that's good.
Yeah, heard some good things about him. I don't know much about him, but
I don't either.
Been around.
It's been around the block, Riggs.
Been around the block.
He has. 2025 Hall of Fame class, Riggs. You didn't get your number called. I don't understand it, but it's coming. It's coming.
I'll remain patient. My time will come.
Stick with it. Listen, Zdeno Chara.
I guess so.
You knew that was coming, right? I guess he just jumped you barely. Our boy,
he had a few good seasons in there.
Couple. Our boy Jumbo Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Man, one of my favorite guys. God, I love that dude. What a great guy. He was an awesome player. His mic'd up things were great, man. He's just always chirping. Love that guy. Alex McGillney was one of my favorites too. I used to love it when I first came in the league. He was playing, and he was awesome. And also Brianna Decker and Jennifer Botterill is in this class, along with, please forgive me, my French. I haven't been speaking French lately, Riggs. I know it's a surprise. I have not. Danielle Savigno. I apologize. I probably carved that to pieces.
Sounded perfect.
It sounded really good. I was going to get Danny Briere to say it for me or Lappy, but you can't understand Lappy's English or French from what everyone says. Anyway, pretty cool, man. Hall of Famers, they all deserve it. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw a little montage of McGillney's highlight reel on Instagram somewhere, oh man, talk about lateral movement and bobbing out, weaving in, and all just some of the creative plays and goals he had. Man, I forget how good he was. Geez,
I'll never forget.
Smooth he was.
Yeah, exactly, and he was a really good guy too. From the times I got to interact with him, I remember we were playing Buffalo in the playoffs. My first or second year with the Flyers. It might have been my first year with the Flyers way back 94, 95 or 95, 96 season. I can't remember off the top of my head, but anyway, he was in the training room and I was standing there talking to Jim Pizzatella, and he was super nice. He spoke really good English too. And Pizza was the guy that I told you about that made all the robes for the fighters, for Rob Ray and all that. And he made Dave Brown.
Sure.
But Pizza was he would chirp the skilled guys too, right? Like he'd be like, you know, what are you gonna do? You know, hey, they got this guy. I remember him saying something like, hey, they got Brendan Moore down there as a middleweight, and McGillney turns around and goes, "You want me to go him?" Like, and I just thought it was so funny because, like, obviously McGillney's probably not going to drop the middies, but it was just funny because the way he was so serious. And of course, I bet like hook, line, and sinker. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
and he starts
that's
laughing.
happening.
Yeah, right. Fucking Don King in there trying to like promote
yeah,
these fights. That was pizza. He always did it, but
like Marty
pretty
B.
cool. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh my God, you and Bolts. Hey, this guy wants to fight you. I don't want to fight him.
Yeah, you got a 185 pound goaltender brokering fights before
6'8",
games.
135 pounds.
135.
Sorry, Marty, you weren't quite 6. You're not 6'8".
Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and until then, knuckleheads, stay safe.
See ya.